The air was thick, heavy, a presence unseen, but undeniable, pressed in on the room like a storm waiting to break. The man in the chair convulsed violently, his lips curled, his breath ragged, yet the voice that poured from his mouth was not his own. A growl, a twisted chuckle, then a voice dripping with venom. "You're wasting your time, priest." Father Gabriele Amorth stood firm, his eyes locked on the figure before him. This was not the first time he had heard such mockery. It would not be the last. He raised his crucifix. The demon thrashed, its stolen body resisting the holy presence. Then a sound cut through the air, sharp, shrill, almost like fear. A scream. Father Amorth's grip tightened. He had seen demons rage before. But this was different. "Who is it that torments you?" he asked, his voice steady. The demon's face twisted in pain. A growl rattled from deep within. "Not him! Anyone but him!" Father Amorth pressed harder. "Who?" The entity let out a tortured shriek. It clawed at the air, as if trying to escape something unseen. "Because of him!" "I lost too many souls." The priest leaned closer. "What did he do to you?" The answer came in a howl that shook the walls. "He ruined my plans. He tore down my strongholds." Who was this man? Who could make hell itself tremble? Father Amorth had heard demons curse the names of saints before, but this was something more. Then, at last, the name was wrenched from the demon's lips. A name that sent it into an uncontrollable frenzy. John Paul II. We will learn 5 lessons today. Lesson 1. Evil is real, but it is defeated. Father Amorth had long understood what few dared to acknowledge. Evil is not an abstraction. It is real. It moves, it speaks, and it fights to claim as many souls as it can. He had spent decades on the front lines of this battle, performing over 100,000 exorcisms from his small, unassuming office in Rome. To the outside world, he was just a priest. But behind closed doors, he was a warrior, a soldier waging war against an enemy older than time, yet he never wavered. Because he knew the truth. The devil, no matter how strong, how cunning, how vicious, was always weaker than the name of Jesus Christ. Lesson 2. The devil's ordinary and extraordinary tactics. The world must know that the devil exists, he had warned. Satan's power manifests in 2 ways. The ordinary power is the one most people fall victim to. Temptation. The whispers in the mind. The slow, steady pull away from God. The lies dressed in comfort and desire. But then there is something worse. The extraordinary power, possession, vexation, infestation. Father Amorth had seen all of it. He had witnessed bodies contort in unnatural ways. Voices speak in languages never learned. Objects move without a single human touch. He had battled spirits that delighted in torment, that sought to drive souls into despair, and yet he never despaired. Lesson 3. The power of holy men and women. Pope St. John Paul II had been one of hell's greatest enemies. Father Amorth had faced countless demons. He had heard their blasphemies, their threats, their desperate attempts to break his resolve. But when he invoked the name of John Paul II, something strange happened. The demons recoiled. They hated him. They feared him. They screamed that he had ruined their plans. At first, Father Amorth didn't understand. But then, it all became clear. The fall of communism. John Paul II had stood against the forces of oppression. He had sparked a revolution that shattered the strongholds of godlessness. And then, there was something even more devastating to hell. He stole souls from Satan's grip. Millions of young people had been drawn back to Christ because of him, through World Youth Day and other initiatives. Pilgrims who had been lost, apathetic, wandering, had encountered something in him that ignited their faith again, and the devil, he raged. Lesson 4. The power of the Blessed Virgin. There was one intercessor. Father Amorth knew that demons feared above all. He had once asked a demon directly, "Why do you tremble before the Blessed Virgin more than before Jesus himself?" The answer came through clenched teeth, the voice filled with pure hatred. because I am more humiliated to be defeated by a human creature than by him." The devil could not bear it, that a woman, a mere human, was the instrument through which God brought salvation into the world, that through her obedience, all of hell's rebellion was undone, that every time her name was spoken, it was a reminder of his ultimate defeat. Lesson 5. The final victory belongs to God, and so Father Amorth continued his work, knowing that the war between light and darkness would rage until the end of time. But he also knew this: hell could rage, it could curse, it could fight, but it could never win. Because God had already claimed the final victory, and as long as the faithful held fast, prayed fiercely, and called upon the names that made demons tremble, Satan's kingdom would continue to fall.